Today we are going to be looking over Retopo Planes add-on. It lets you retopologize marvelous garments very fast. First, I'm just gonna export my garment from Marvelous. I'm gonna be exporting as a single object, welded, thin, and we are gonna get the UVs because we need the UVs to use the add-on. So as you can see, this is not the topology we want. We are just gonna use 3D to patterns from asset browser, and of course we need to apply the rotation and scale. This is UV map name doesn't match, so you just go and look at your UV's name, UV. Now as you can see, it's just flattened our UVs. Now we are gonna split this and look at this from the top, and now we can just drag and drop the Retopo main. In Retopo main, you can see we can select the cloth pattern. Now you can actually go to your plane in Retopo Planes collection. If you go to edit mode and you just put this, let's say, in this piece, okay? You just put these edges into the X's in the corners, and as you can see, it already created a base, and you can see the 3D version of it here. And actually, if you go to this version, you can get a better visualization. Just make sure to put it in the corners. You can just scale down the UI to see the things better. And there's actually other UI parts here. Let's disable this thing, for example. Let's keep the wireframe. But as you can see, we have these curve here in our main mesh. So what we can do is just we can go adjust the density until it's matching our thing, or if you want to go very manual editing, you just set it to a very low version. If you go in edge mode, if you go to the edge and select the edges that you want to increase, go to item. So if you use me increase, it's just gonna add more loops here. So we can just keep adding loops on this one direction if we don't want any on this part. Of course we want it because we want to also see the main shape matching our clothes. You see, we want those wrinkles, right? So you can do it manually like this to get the whatever how much topology you want, or you can just use the base density thing. So let's go over it more manually like this to understand it better. So I'm just gonna leave it, let's say, like this. So another thing here, actually there's an auto density option here and full crease control, which zeroes out everything and you have to go manual edit. You can use that too. And actually there's an option called subdivision and project. So if you use it, you will actually get your wrinkles in a multires modifier. If you don't know what that is, it's just subdividing, then adding, baking your main details from your main garments. But let's keep it off for now. So as you can see, let's say this is what we want, this is enough. Actually, maybe let's increase it a little bit, right? Let's add 5. Now you have a mirrored, let's say you have a mirrored garment, and you mostly do. You just go to the vertex selection and select one of the vertices and press E to extrude. And if you just extrude it onto the other side, it will just use the same topology on that side. So that's pretty sweet. You can do it in other pieces too. Let's try doing the top part, which is the most easy one, like it's a square. So we can just select this, Shift D to duplicate it, and just put it in the corners again. And as you can see, it's created this thing. Now actually these numbers matters because it's gonna be how it's gonna be merging with the other parts, right? So you will see it's better in the when we do the other parts. So let's go copy this, go to the bottom part. Now this is a more complicated part, right? And I need to say it again, I'm not a pro at this. This is my like second trial on this add-on, but as you can see, it's doing something like this, which is not good at all. So I guess we can just maybe try to put these things here. Now this is much better. And of course we can always add with Ctrl R, we can add more loops. So we can make this two separate pieces. And of course we can keep adding them, so we have more control over it, right? We can keep adding them. And let's add one vertical cuts to have more control here, I guess. Now these numbers, you see this part needs to match with this part. Let's copy this to the other side, manually adjust the positions. Now you can see it better because this is 20, it's not matching. It is matching here, so I don't know what's happening here. Okay, what's happening there is this is 8 and this is 9 possibly, and if you make it 9 you will see it's yellow now. It means it's matching this and this cuts. As you can see, we don't have controls in these corners, so maybe it's better to add more cuts here, right? Okay, I'm kind of lost here. I don't know how to make this. Okay, I think I figured out a little bit. So actually, these are giving me errors that just increasing the numbers here is enough. I have to add cuts there, loops, so they can just match this cut, this part with this part, this part with this part, and like other with the other side. So I basically just need to add 3 cuts. As you can see, 3 borders. I just put them like this. Now as you can see, it's all yellow with mismatching, and this is not yellow because we don't know. We'll solve that. Okay, now let's try the same thing for the top part. So because I cut this part into multiple pieces, it's telling me that I need to cut these parts as well on the top. So I will just go 3, and now it's a yellow. And now we have this loop continuing here and this matching here. Okay, so if we go just let's disable the points guide now, polyloops. Okay, now we can see it's actually doing pretty good job. This part I don't like very much, but you can actually make those fixes after just doing this first part. You don't have to do everything in this tool, right? As you can see, we have a pretty good quad topology now, and the good thing is we can just keep changing the density without breaking these connection parts, right? It's pretty sweet being able to do this and just follow really. Maybe let's do it like this, right? And this is pretty sweet if you ask me. And of course, like I said in the previous seconds, if you just use subdivision error project, you get all your main faults because it's projecting it after subdividing. Talking about applying this as a final mesh, I have no idea how to do that, but let's see. I guess we just apply the modifiers. Yeah, we have our part. Okay, you already seen it enough. I'm just gonna leave it, or maybe just nice. And now we have our Retopod garments. It still has the same UVs, which means if you make textures in Marvelous or in Substance, you can still keep it. And of course, now we can just use the Blender's own tools. Let's go Sculpt mode, for example, a smooth brush, and if you go to surface, you can see it's gonna, and let's say mesh boundary, so it doesn't smooth the edges. It's just gonna smooth out your topology to make it more balanced, but we have enough balance. Oh, let's show it here. Let's see, right here, see? And of course you don't have to do this. Maybe slide, relax slide. Oh yeah, this one. As you can see, it's not changing the mesh, it's just changing the topology. So you can just open the mirror, and if you remember, I said this part is not balanced, so we can just bring it down to balance it. Of course, you don't have to do it, but just showing. You can even use the clothes brushes in Blender, which is great. Let's say, let's just drag clothes. This is good enough. So it has a bunch of new settings here, but as you can see, it's pretty much very strong. This, because I'm on a mouse. This is basically just a grab brush that makes it more like a simulated cloth when you move it. So this was my first Retopo Planes add-on usage. I'm sure maybe there are much easier ways. Maybe I'm missing something. So let me know if you know something I don't. And I will see you in the next ones. Parmaktan sonra. Bye.